Is the Buffalo Bills championship window closed? Have they wasted Josh Allen and their best chance to win a Super Bowl? I'm Doug Kezirian. This is Hard Pass, also available in podcast. When I was younger, I had a firm stance that some championship droughts were good for sports. I never wanted them to end, even though their fan bases were suffering. It was selfish, sure. Sometimes it even felt like betting the don't pass at the craps table. But I believed the pursuit of getting over the hump made those storylines much more interesting and much more compelling. The Cubs and Red Sox trying to reverse the curse year after year was great theater until they ultimately won it all. Same for Phil Mickelson until he finally won a major in 2004. But at least the U.S. Open remained elusive and thus great drama. 6 times the runner-up. Just incredible. Honestly, the Buffalo Bills might be the only one left still standing. And I don't think they're going to end this drought anytime soon. I firmly believe they've wasted Josh Allen's best years. This comes after they lost in Houston against the Texans on Thursday Night Football. Josh Allen sacked 8 times as the offensive line was absolutely suffocated. At times, late in the game, it did look like Buffalo would pull off a magical win thanks to converting on a 4th and 27 trick play, the hook and ladder. Truly incredible. In the 4th quarter alone, the Bills converted 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13, and that 4th and 27. Now, Buffalo loses, but still 7-4, still alive in the playoff mix. But it really just doesn't feel like the same team that's made deep playoff runs in recent years. And one thing to keep in mind, sports are not incremental, okay? If you make a deep playoff run, it's not a new baseline for the following season. You still start 0-0 the next year, and then the variables are still in play, injuries, things like that. And you don't automatically get over the hump. Eventually, you go back to the bottom of the mountain. And there's really no better example of this than Dan Marino, probably more so than any in sports. In just his 2nd year in the NFL, he torched the league, broke a bunch of records, won MVP, and reached the Super Bowl. He was only 23. Now, they lost, the Miami Dolphins. He was only 23. Many thought he had many Super Bowl runs in his future. Never got back to the Super Bowl. Hall of Famer still, but never got back to the Super Bowl. Now, Allen hasn't reached the Super Bowl, but I wonder if his time will ever come. Franchise not cursed. I don't believe in that, but sometimes it just never happens. Again, sports are not incremental. The Bills had so many chances in recent playoff runs. They were right there last year, AFC Championship game, down 3.5 minutes to go with the ball. They only drive to midfield against Kansas City, turn it over on downs. 2 previous seasons, the Bills lost at home in the divisional round. 2021, the true backbreaker, score a go-ahead touchdown with 13 seconds left. That's it. Only to botch the kickoff and the prevent defense, allowing the Chiefs to kick a game-tying field goal and ultimately beat Buffalo in overtime. I and many others put that loss on Sean McDermott. Frankly, I'm surprised he's still the head coach because in my eyes, he's made a lot of mistakes. But moving forward, how does this end well for Buffalo? All those struggles, is there a happy ending here? In football, given the salary cap, the timing has to be perfect at so many positions. And I just think their best chances are behind them in terms of Allen's supporting cast. Plus, most importantly, my biggest concern is so many other franchises have now entered the chat, as the kids say, while the regulars are also still there. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, Lamar Jackson and Baltimore, Joe Burrow and Cincy, they're still around and will be for so many years moving forward. But now the Patriots are back in the mix with their new franchise quarterback, Drake Maye. Plus, the Chargers and Broncos got much more competitive, competent, and relevant recently by adding their head coaches and quarterbacks, Harbaugh and Herbert in LA, and then Sean Payton and Bo Nix in Denver. And heck, even random teams like the Colts and Texans seem to have turned around their franchises, and they're going to be frisky in the playoffs if they make it. So now the Bills seem like one of many teams instead of just one of a few. On top of that, there are fundamental issues, which is why I was criticizing McDermott earlier. Buffalo's 11-12 on the road over the past 2.5 seasons, and certain teams can stop Allen, like the Houston Texans. On that note, time now for a heat check. As ESPN's Mina Kimes pointed out, look at his numbers when pressured by Houston's D. Combined 3 of 21 passing with 51 yards over the past 2 meetings. Now, the game also induced a remarkable tweet, humorous video of getting drilled down the stairs in hockey gear and making a joke, that's what Josh Allen's night was like. I mean, let me put it this way. If your life depended on picking an AFC team to win it all, are you even considering the Bills amongst your top 3 choices? Maybe top 3. And you can't mention this recent stretch of Bills heartache without mentioning those Super Bowl runs. That's the main one in Buffalo lore. 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s, coming up short each time. Now, ESPN even made a 30 for 30 for this. It was truly remarkable, getting to the Super Bowl 4 straight years and losing all 4, 1990 to 1993. Prolific offense led by Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly. The closest they came was the first one, lost to the Giants because Scott Norwood missed a 47-yard game-winning field goal in the final seconds, wide right. 2 words a Bills fan never wants to hear. Josh Allen is supposed to be the savior, much like LeBron finally delivered for Cleveland when the Cavs won it all. However, although Allen might even be the NFL's best player, unfortunately, I think Buffalo's window has closed. In my eyes, Bills Mafia will remain alone at the mountaintop, the most tortured fan base, the thirstiest of the championship drought. Time now for fans in the stands, and this is when we get to respond to the comments in some of the recent episodes. It's our audience, our fans in the stands, but it's also a reminder to please like and subscribe the show. It's so important for us. It's the analytics in YouTube. It's the currency that matters so much. Also, let us know your thoughts, what you like, what you dislike, things you want to see more of, and we will single out a few comments in each of our episodes. So the most recent one, talking about the NBA and Draymond Green's confrontation with a courtside fan in New Orleans. And the question is the NBA soft? What's going on here? And Sean Scott said it's not the NBA that's gone soft. It's the entire world, also known as decorum, right? That was the thing that we've come up in some elections in recent memory. And he goes on to say fans should be allowed to say whatever they want respectfully. It's up to the professionals to deal with it. If you paid me millions of dollars a year, you can call me anything you want, and I'd have the discipline to go about my business. Now, that's the interesting thing is, what is respectfully? That's the question. Now, we all know curse words and things like that, but where do you draw the line on respectfully? This fan was calling Draymond Green Angel Reese because he had a bunch of me-bounds. Draymond laughed it off, but they were face-to-face, and he was like, you're calling me a girl. And in the fans' eyes, he never crossed the line. He's been thrown out of other games, he said. So respectfully, yes, but that's leaves it up to interpretation. We don't really know. It reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where Jerry was so sick of getting heckled, he went to the girl's workplace and heckled her during her job in an office. And it was Costanza's idea. But that's the point is, why should they be subjected to certain heckling? Shouldn't you just cheer for your own team and get noisy when the other team's shooting free throws? Why is heckling have to be personal, even if it's respectful? Because that's how close we were, in my eyes, to another Malice in the Palace, because it's Draymond Green. He could have flipped. You don't know how close that switch was to being flipped. So I think that's the discussion, because the NBA fans are right there on the court. MCAM61 said, and this was about the NFL and what needs to change with the pass interference and all the other officiating rules. He said, officiating comment, the original is still alive and well, the makeup call. And it absolutely is in all sports. And sometimes referees deny it. Sometimes announcers deny it. You're naive if you believe that. It absolutely exists. The one thing that almost always happens in the NFL, when there's a pass interference, that's a little questionable, especially when it's downfield in the red zone, things like that. First play, they always call holding to almost make it 1st and 20. It's almost like a hedge. It's sort of the ref's backpedaling. It's like, all right, it's pass interference, but then it'll be 1st and 20. Happens in the NBA a bunch. They'll call a charge or moving pick when they called a charge on the other side just to balance it out. You see it all the time. You can't be naive. You have to believe it. That's going to do it for this edition of Hard Pass. We always appreciate you joining the conversation, weighing in. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and maybe next show we'll pick out your comment and respond here on Fans in the Stands.